Hello and welcome again to my channel and my very messy room. My only excuse is that we're moving soon. I know it's bad. Okay, I just want you to quickly meet my adorable puppy, Macy. And I use the term puppy lightly. And, oh, my cat ran away. I'm sure my cat will be back. My cat's name is Charlotte, but this is Macy. She's so pretty. Yeah. Okay. I could show her off all day. So, this is my Dissociative Identity Disorder 101 video. Welcome. So I hope that this will be really informative if you have no base knowledge of like what dissociation is, what dissociative disorders are, and especially in particular I'm going to end on DID because that's what I have, that's what I know the best, it's what I live, so I mean that's the one I'm most versed on, I suppose. Clicking wrong button. Dissociation is a spectrum, okay? There is really, really mild dissociation, like everyday normal, totally nothing to worry about. You know, it might increase when you're stressed, but it's still nothing to worry about. Totally normal, mild dissociation. There's moderate, and then there's severe, which, I mean, moderate to severe is where you get into the dissociative disorders aspect of it. So examples of, like, mild dissociation would be, like, daydreaming. Say you're driving home and all of a sudden you get home and you don't remember any of the drive. You know you drove home safely, but you don't remember it. That's mild dissociation. Like brief periods of spacing out, like those are all normal. People daydream, people, you know, spend time in La La Land. That's normal. Moderate dissociation is more when you get into depersonalization and derealization. So depersonalization is when you feel like you are not real. It's a very strange feeling to have, and for some reason I'm having a hard time thinking of an example of depersonalization, but it's like you feel like a foreigner in your body, like it feels very new, it's very odd sensation. Derealization is when things around you seem not real. I had a really bad derealization episode last week. I woke up and I felt like nothing was real. I felt pretty much like I was just playing a video game, but the video game was real life. Like it just felt really weird, and if you haven't experienced it, I'm sure it's hard to relate. So those are moderate forms of dissociation. And then on the severe end, you have dissociative identity disorder, you have otherwise specified dissociative disorder, and you have unspecified dissociative disorder. And then kind of in the middle of moderate and severe, like it depends, is dissociative amnesia. So types of dissociative disorders, and this is according to the DSM-5. So this is the newest edition of the DSM. So there's dissociative amnesia, and it's with or without fugue. So for those of you who don't know what fugue is, a person in a fugue state would not know who they are, and generally they have an urge to travel. Not a lot is known about fugue states, but there's a well-documented pattern of amnesia personality and the urge to travel. And dissociative amnesia, it could be anything. You could be amnesic for parts of your day, you could be amnesic for only, if you're in a certain environment. It all depends. And then there's depersonalization / derealization disorder. They kind of clumped all that into one disorder. I just really get a kick out of this. There's otherwise specified dissociative disorder 1, and I believe 1 has like 2 or 3 subtypes. 2, 3, and 4. I'll make another video on otherwise specified dissociative disorder because, wow, that's a lot. There's unspecified dissociative disorder. So I guess if you don't fit the criteria of any of the others, and yet dissociation is still, being problematic for you, and it's causing trouble in your day-to-day life, then you would fit that diagnosis, I suppose. I'm not a doctor. Again, I'm not giving medical advice, for a disclaimer. And then dissociative identity disorder, which is what I'm most familiar with. So DID. This is a quote from didresearch.org. Dissociative identity disorder is a disorder that was previously recognized as multiple personality disorder. 21 years ago. I'm not sure if you guys could actually hear me whispering, but I was saying 21 years ago. So please stop calling it multiple personality disorder unless you were diagnosed with it prior to 1994. Please, for the love of God, please. My own personal opinion, but please. Sorry, again, I get sidetracked in DID research's quotes. I'm sorry. That was previously recognized as multiple personality disorder. It is characterized by the presence of 2 or more distinct self-states, also known as alters, that have the ability to take executive control and are associated with some degree of inter-identity amnesia. DID is caused by chronic childhood trauma. Emphasize in bold, italics, underline, chronic childhood trauma, and is highly associated with post-traumatic stress disorder. They're very, very comorbid, extremely comorbid. So, causes of DID. It is severe, prolonged trauma or abuse that must occur before, or the cutoff age is, depending on the study, 6 to 9 years old. Now, the reason for that is because integration of self is actually a childhood developmental milestone that is achieved between 6 to 9 years of age. And so if you have a trauma that disrupts that integration, you miss that milestone, and once that milestone is missed, you have dissociative states, or alters, or system members, or whatever you want to call them. Many individuals with DID also have disorganized attachment. Disorganized attachment, to be very brief, is when you simultaneously crave someone's attention or affection, or you want to talk to them, you want to be close to them, but at the exact same time you're too afraid to approach them. You don't want to get near them because you're scared for whatever the reason is, and so you're constantly caught between the conflicting emotions, and you inevitably just freeze, which is dissociation. DID is most likely, or I'm sorry, not most likely, more likely to develop if the abuser is the primary attachment figure. Because if this person who you look to be your everything, your role model, your support, who gives you food, who gives you shelter, who gives you everything you've ever known, is also the person that's abusing you, that is too much for a child's mind to bear. And therefore there's the inability to integrate the information in one mind, because it's just so confusing. It's not how things are supposed to be. It's not how our minds are made to develop.